Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to call the City of Benton Harbor City Commission meeting to order. We'd like to begin with an invocation by Pastor Jones of Beautiful Gate Missionary Baptist Church, to follow with the Pledge of Allegiance from our Deputy Director of Public Safety, Deputy Clark. All rise.
Eternal God, I lift my voice tonight in prayer for this council concerning the tasks that they have been given of decision-making for the betterment of this community. I ask that you aid them tonight with your divine help to make the proper and right choices. Amen.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Clark Griffin? Commissioner Henderson?
Present.
Commissioner Henry? Commissioner Isom? Commissioner Kennard? Commissioner Singleton? Commissioner Warren?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats? Mayor Mohammed?
Present.
We have a quorum.
This brings us to approval of minutes. I'd like to make is there a motion to approve the minutes? Motion is made by Commissioner Henderson. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Isom. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard? Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry? Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the approval of accounts payable listing. Is there a motion for the approval?
So moved.
Motion is made by Commissioner Henderson. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Isom. Is there discussion? Chair recognizes 4th Ward Commissioner Clark Griffin.
In the accounts payable, I don't see where the young man, Mr. Jaleel McNeil, that had been charged for sewer for 2 years for sewer that he does not have. I don't see a payment in there. Mr. Little had informed him that it was gonna be, discussed and voted by us, and had the figures. And the figures did not match with what Mr. McNeil had. So he's been trying to request another meeting with Mr. Little and he has not responded. But at least if it was told to him and a figure was put even what Mr. Little came up, I don't see it. Mr. McNeil has dealt with this over a month since he found out he's been paying 2 years for a sewer that he does not have. He has a septic tank. So I would hope soon this legal action will be fixed, and I assume if he was told that the payment would be in there, it would be in here, and it's not.
Any other comments? Carry none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kennard? For the AP list? Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
No.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry? No. Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to our city manager interviews. Our first interviewee is Mr. Wilmer Griffin. Is he present? I want to yield to the Personnel and Finance Chairman.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. We haven't had 2 rounds of interviews. This will be the 3rd and final. Mr. Wilburn, how you doing today?
I'm fine, yourself, sir.
And so the commission, each commissioner should have a question that they would ask you. So they should have the questions prepared, and we will score and tally and hand the information over to the clerk. And then we'll be presented at the Personnel and Finance Committee meeting Wednesday at 5:30. We'll start with the
Point of clarity, are you asking any question, or is there already questions that are somewhere already posed?
we sent out a email to ask your own question.
So there's no formality for as you ask whatever question. Each commissioner has to ask their own type of question.
Same question you would ask each candidate.
Okay, thank you,
The same question, whatever question that may be.
thank you.
We're going to start with Ward 4. Commissioner Griffin.
Hi, how are you? And for all, we're not related, so.
Oh, no, we're not. I'm by marriage on top of that. So, I saw that you said you want to provide a better quality of life for people. How would you go about? What do you think the need, and how would you go about to provide that?
Well, I think quality of life comprises a lot of different things. I think it comprises a lot of things that you guys have already been doing as far as working in the infrastructure, as far as redoing the streets, the sidewalks, the plumbing, the lead pipes and stuff. I think that has a lot to do with quality of life because, of course, you won't be getting tripped. Hopefully, your streets will be better, and also that your water will be safe and all those sort of things. But I also think we have to talk about quality of life and different issues like we deal with the youth as far as making sure that we make sure that they have the skills and the initiative, I guess is one way I want to put it, or the work ethic, in order to be productive and in order to make sure that, I think we all know that your city and other cities around you are prospering and are improving and whatever. And I think you want to make sure that as your city improves, that your citizens who have been here for a significant amount of time, your natives, are able to appreciate and be able to take advantage of the improvements in the community. So I think that's one thing about the quality of life. I think housing is another important component of quality of life. I think one of my main initiatives as far as quality of life is eliminating blight. My philosophy of blight is that blight is like baby's kids. It doesn't die, it multiplies. So blight has to be totally eliminated. And I think once blight is eliminated, a lot of the other quality of life issues are a lot more easier to be able to come to fruition. But I do think that as long as we put money into physical attributes of the community as far as infrastructure and those things, we also have to make investments in the human attributes of the community in order to try to make sure that we balance it out. And again, try to make sure that we can make sure that the community is sustainable for the next generation and also for the next generation.
Well, I didn't know I could write that fast. Thank you.
Thank you. Third Ward Commissioner Henry.
Good to see you.
You too, ma'am. How are you?
Good to see you again, sir. Once, the last time you were here, one of our former commissioners gave you information about Justice 40, and she's been a component, and I've been trying to drive it home as well. At that time, you said you didn't know much about it, but can you tell me what you know about it and how it is to improve African Americans' lives in America?
Well, as I understood it, Miss, Project 40 was an initiative created by the Biden administration pretty much right after they were elected. And the intent of the initiative is threefold, as I understand it. You want to deal with the human end, you want to deal with the infrastructure end, and you want to deal with the growth or sustainability. And I think those are the things that they're trying to do. I know that it is targeted to minority communities and also low-income communities. I guess my only issue right now with it, Miss, is that as of November 5th, I'm not sure if it'll still be in operation in order to be able to try to take advantage of it. But I do see the positives of it. I do see the positiveness in it, and I do see where it could be a plus for your community, whether I become the city manager or whoever. But I do see where it could be a plus. My only worry is that I'm not sure it will still be in operation after January 20th.
Right, Second Ward, Commissioner Warren.
Hello, how are you?
I'm finding yourself, Miss.
Can you tell me about a time where you had to make a difficult decision that was unpopular with the public?
That's somewhat of a difficult question. I'm not sure if I could really say where I made a decision that was really, really unpopular with the public. I can say that there were times when the public needed funding for different issues that they were really in need of, and at that time we didn't have the funding in order to be able to do that. And also, I guess I can say that at one time I was running a rehabilitation program, and it was very, very successful. And a lot of people would come and want to be able to take advantage of the rehab program simply because they had those needs. Unfortunately, a lot of times, because of the stipulations of, area median income, they weren't eligible because of their income. And it wasn't like they were very, very well off. It just so happens that they were just a little bit above the income stipulations. And so in those cases, I would have to tell people that we wouldn't be able to help you. And they weren't happy about that. And to be honest with you, I wasn't necessarily happy about that too, because a lot of times they had serious housing repairs that they needed. And there wasn't any funding to be able to help them. Like, for example, they needed a new roof and things like that. And someone who just got a roof about 3 years ago, I know how it is to have a leaking roof and how stressful that can be. And I also know how expensive it can be to put a new one on. So I could relate, but unfortunately, my hands were tied because of the stipulations. But to be actually honest with you, I haven't had the misfortune of just having to always tell residents that, something that they were trying to need or whatever, that we weren't able to do. I try to be as realistic as possible, Ms.
First Ward, Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you. Mr. Melbourne, how would you manage a city like the Benton Harbor that has had issues with revenue and businesses and that kind of thing? How would you bring in new investors into our community? How would you sell the city of Benton Harbor to people who've never been here, who wanted or was looking to come into the city of Benton Harbor to help bring in revenue into the city of Benton Harbor?
I think I try to emphasize the assets of the community. I mean, you have land, you have water, you have one of the youngest populations in the state, especially of minority students or minority children, or basically between under the age of 30. You have a significant population there. You're on the water. You're near all the major highways. And also, I believe that this community wants to grow. This community wants to improve. This community wants to become sustainable. I saw that recently when I had a chance to watch one of your Planning Commission meetings. And I was very impressed with the members of the Planning Commission, because what they were saying is, as I interpret it, they wanted to make sure that they got the correct information The map was too small for them. They wanted to make sure that they had the map so they could see it, and they wanted to make sure that they got the information correct before they voted on it and before they took it to the people. And I was very impressed with that. I really was. I mean, that showed that they had a real commitment to it and that they were really, really interested in seeing their community grow and improve, but at the same time, they wanted to be done in a proper way. And I was really impressed with that. So I think the things that I would do is, for one, I think that we should recruit to other communities where they have a very high housing price rate, where people want to live on the water in these other communities where they can't live on the water. I think we should try to maybe recruit back people who have lived in Benton Harbor, who may have grew up in Benton Harbor before, and are somewhere else now. And if we built quality, not market housing, yes, if we built quality market housing, I believe you could recruit them back into the community, especially if they're empty nesters or that sort of thing. In fact, I just noticed the other day, I'm sure you all probably saw it too, but they showed in the Detroit Free Press where JoVale Bell, who I understand is originally from Benton Harbor, just opened up a restaurant in Detroit. And so I think you might be able to recruit back people like that back into the community to maybe invest in businesses and different things like that. And then also I think we just need to go out and find developers who are very interested in maybe recruiting or coming into the community. For example, I know Chicago, Grand Rapids, and I believe it was another city, have at least 3 or 4 black brewers that might be interested in coming to the community, and it could help you with your water issue, and then it could bring more businesses to the community. It will bring more jobs to the community. They'll be using utilities and those type of things. So those are some of the ideas I have. Of course, it'll all be up to following the direction of the council, but I hope that I am able to maybe supply ideas and maybe different initiatives that I think may be of help. But those are some of the ideas I have, Ms.
At-large Commissioner Singleton.
Mr. Griffin, knowing that the tax base here is kind of limited and we depend on a lot of grants and things like that from federal government, state. One, how important do you think that is, and what type of relationship do you have with federal agencies and state agencies?
Okay. Well, I think I have a very good relationship with federal agencies. I have a very good relationship with HUD. I've also, currently at the city of Detroit, I'm managing a grant from the Department of Interior for a park that we're working on. And I've even noticed that you all seem to have a good relationship with your state representative. And I would imagine you probably have one also with your federal representative. But I think one of the things that we may need to look at now, and we won't know until after this is done, but I think one of the things we may need to look at as far as grants and funds and what have you, I think we might need to look at trying to see if there's any way we could establish a coalition with some of the regional community foundation people in the community, with some of the employers in the community, and maybe some of the businesses in the community. Because I know that's one of the things that Mayor Duggan did in Detroit. And by him doing that, a lot of times you got around, and I'm not about trying to eliminate regulations, but a lot of times you got around some of the federal regulations as it came to building housing and stuff like that, because it wasn't government money, and that made it be able to get completed a lot faster. And also it showed some investment from the outside community as far as the foundation and that sort of thing. So I'm all for grant writing. I wrote 2 NSP grants, NSP 1 and NSP 2. I wrote a land grant for $2 million. I've been managing HUD, CDBG and home, CDBG and home projects and NSP for a long time. I wrote the first brownfield pilot program for one community, and through that pilot, they were able to remediate a old 1920 gas station downtown that ended up becoming a used bookstore. And we also were able to remediate and demolish an old die-cast factory that ended up becoming community land, green space. So if there's money out there and we can get it, then I'll go out there and try to get it. But I'm also willing to try to find some new things and able to bring money into the community. But I really think that we all know that grants are only going to take you so far. We're going to have to bring in businesses to build up the tax base for the long run. But for the short run, I'll be more than willing to go out and try to find whatever funding is out there. And research is one of my positive traits, if you will. So if there's money there, I'll go out and find it for you, sir.
Can you briefly describe, if possible, a plan for the dealing with senior citizens and the youth?
Well, I think I may have mentioned this before. One of my dreams is, I guess, is to work with the medical or the hospital operations or what have you. And what I'd like to see is every child that is born in the community, when their mother goes home, she goes home with either a CD or a link to either classical or jazz music. And she has to sign some type of form or whatever that shows that she'll be listening while she's feeding the baby or bathing the baby or whatever. She'll be listening to that music. Because studies have shown that when you do that when a baby's small or whatever, it connects the brain waves, and basically it makes them a lot more prepared to learn and stuff like that. And so I think that's starting from the beginning. I think then from there, I think we need to work with some of the daycares, preschools, and things like that to make sure that they're exposing the kids at that age to STEM type activities along with mechanical type activities in order to develop those skills. And then I think we go on to there, we can do things like I mentioned before. I had designed a thing called the Academic Olympics, what was designed for inner city kids to compete academically yearly. And the first, second, and third place winners would get a gold medal. They competed in math, they competed in mechanical dexterity, they competed in reading, they competed in local knowledge, like who's your commissioner, who's the pastor of this church, those type of things. And I think those type of things are very beneficial, especially for a community like Benton Harbor, because I think anytime you can show that you're invested in your young people and your children, then it's a positive thing, and you can go from there. As far as the seniors, it's my understanding that there's no senior homes inside the city of Benton Harbor. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I was told. So I think we need to have more activities for the seniors. One of the things that I also know that, I don't know if you all do this, so I'm not trying to rewrite the wagon or what have you, but I know there's things like Senior Day for seniors, where they go out and they have like Senior Olympics, and the seniors compete in different things and do different things or whatever. And so I think those type of things could be really positive for the seniors. And I'm sure there's other things too. But I think those are the two important demographics, right? Your children and your seniors. If you take care of those, then hopefully everything in the middle will work out.
At-large Commissioner Kennard.
How are you today?
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you?
All right. Look, I want to sort of grasp and how you would deal with a finance director. We know finance is very important in running the city. How would you, according to the charter, follow the order of the charter in having a finance director in and working closely with him,
Well, I would
making
love to
sure
have-
that he get what
I'm
he
sorry.
needs?
I'm sorry. I would love to have a finance director here on a day-to-day basis, because you can walk down and ask them this and that and that, whatever. But I think that's pretty much in your cart, right? I wouldn't be able to hire a finance person if we still have the contract with the accounting firm, as I understand, right? Because there's only so much funding. So, is there a expiration date on the contract with the accounting firm? And, because I think that's what the problem is, isn't it? The availability of money? I'm asking, I don't know.
I imagine there's a lot of things that need to be worked out in that area. But if we were to have it open for you,
Oh, I would love to
to
have a
work
finance
with,
director.
you would see the importance of having a,
Oh, by all means, and on site. And I don't know if the other lady's on site or not. I did get a chance to meet her outside. I don't know if she's on site all the time or not. But, yes, it would be great to have a finance director. And, I don't know, I wasn't able to see the contract or whatever that you have with the accounting firm. But I would think maybe it might save the city some money. I don't know.
well, what I was thinking about, if it's according to what the charter defines.
And I did read that in charter, ma'am. I did.
All right.
I did. And it did say that that was one of the positions that is mandatory or what have you. I did read that in the charter.
Mayor Pro Temp Seats.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin, for being here today and for applying for the position. I don't know if you have a pen available. It's going to be a,
Yes, I do.
all right, thank you. Please describe your experience in the areas of personnel and labor relations, public safety, diversity, equity, and inclusion, public works, economic development, and intergovernmental relations. Thank you.
My experience in personnel has basically been in the area of hiring, recruiting people, and also making sure that they have the mechanisms in order to be successful in their job. I have worked somewhat with different organizations where, for example, one of the organizations I worked for, I had out of 10 people, there were 4 different unions. And I'm proud to say that in 10 years, I never had a grievance. Now, I'm not saying we didn't have any disagreements, but I never had a grievance. As far as public works, I work with public works a lot. As far as if you're dealing with housing and different things, then you need to interact with public works as far as maybe with needing piping removed or what have you. Also with right-of-way needs and those type of things. Diversity, I think diversity is something that I have worked with significantly, but it's all about, I mean, a lot of times we put diversity and equity and we put it out there and, you know, it really doesn't need to be put out there as DEI. A lot of times it can just be put out there is that we're doing the right thing and that we're trying to make sure that we have a quality workforce and that we have a workforce that matches the makeup of the community. And also to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to use their skill sets and improve their skill sets as they progress in the organization. So that's how I see DEI, is diversity is making sure you have enough people that represent the community and that look like your community or that looks like America. As far as equity, again, I feel like equity is making sure that everyone has the opportunity, everyone is treated fairly, and everyone has had the right workforce training and what have you to be successful. And inclusion, I think, goes back to that same thing. We're including everyone. Public safety, I've worked with public safety a lot also. I've always tried to have a relationship with public safety because I think it's very important that the community see public safety in something else besides locking people up. I want public safety to be able to see people as human beings, as people in your neighborhood, and as people who have families just like you, who want to pay their bills and want to do all those different things too. A specific thing in public safety that I did help design the community officers program, which was a program with the organization that I worked for at that time, where they actually rehabilitated a house in the neighborhood, and police officers lived in the neighborhood that they worked in. So that was one thing. As far as economic development, I think my whole career is economic development, basically, because I put community development, economic development pretty much in the same pot. So when I talk about rehabilitating houses or building houses, I see this economic development. We had a lead program, and the $2 million lead program. And one of the stipulations in the lead program is that all of the contractors, I think we had 8 contractors, all of them had to at least hire 2 people from the community. And I consider that to be economic development because you're giving them skills and you're also giving them a paycheck. So I consider that to be economic development. I consider the Academic Olympics program to be economic development because I see that as economic development because you're investing in your young people. And also, it was very positive to see so many seniors and other people as judges and what have you. Again, intergovernmental, I think all of those things go into that to say that I have experience working with intergovernmental, because to say that I work with personnel, public safety, public works, economic development, I feel all those are intergovernmental, and so that's how I see it, sir.
Thank you.
Honorable Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin, for your application to be the city manager for the city of Benton Harbor. Currently, the city just completed a $32 million project where we removed and replaced all lead service lines. We online have $21 million to address our water infrastructure, which is our distribution system. We have $4 million to address our water filtration plant. We currently have a $2.6 million project for Colfax, which is a artery in terms of a major street in Benton Harbor. We also have another $1 million project for Bobo Brazil, $700,000 project with Yarborough Park.
I'm sorry, sir, what's the name of the park?
Yarborough Park, named after former Mayor Charles Yarborough. And we're poised to have a minimum of $400 million for our Riverview Drive, which is 625 acres of virgin riverfront property. My question is, what in your professional and educational background qualifies you to serve as the chief administrative officer or city manager of the city of Benton Harbor?
I think my background, as far as what I've built over the years, I mean, for example, I managed the city of Detroit's NSP program, which was like $47 million. And I was responsible for making sure that the money was spent in and not me alone by no means, but I was responsible for making sure that I tracked the money correctly, made sure that the money was spent in the right way and in a timely fashion. I was able to come into one community that was in jeopardy of losing basically $6 million in HUD funds because they were so behind on their CDBG spending and also the lack of documentation. And I was able to, usually it takes roughly about a year, especially back then, because now it's more like click and whatever. But back then you had to actually write a consolidated plan. And it usually took you anywhere between a year and a half to put a quality consolidated plan together. I was hired in November. The consolidated plan had to be done by April, and I was able to do it. And at the time that I was able to do it, I was driving 244 miles round trip every day. So And then on top of that, I've been able to interact and work with a number of different people, and who I think I've gotten the skill set and the understanding on what needs to be done to redevelop a community like Benton Harbor. And I also think I have the passion and the understanding. As far as the education, I have way more hours than what my degree shows. I have way more hours than that. And I did start out in economics, but I was raised by an old school dad. So when I got to my fourth year, even though I did 3 internships, so that I only had to been in school for 3 years, but 3.5 years. But my daddy said that you could have 4 years seniority somewhere, boy. And so unlike my kids, I listened to my dad. I came home, got a job, and worked my way to where I am today. So if I am able to become your city manager, I think it might be one of the best decisions you made, sir.
Thank you.
No problem, sir.
All right, that's the last questions. Anything you want to say to the commission?
Just that I do believe that I will do an excellent job for you, but I do think that we need to understand that we're in new territory as far as the results of the election on November 5th. I know there might be some people who are happy with the results, and there might be some people who aren't. But I think we all have to be honest with ourselves and say that we're in new territory. So by us being in new territory, some of the things that we normally thought we would be able to do to get these things done may not be around. We're hoping they will, but they may not. Because for one of the things that my idea is to try to get more home funds from HUD in order to help you guys with your affordable housing issue. I don't know if that funding will be available now. I also, there's something called, I'm sorry, the actual title escapes me right now, but basically it's called Neighborhood Investment. And basically it's a collaboration with your housing commission and the city in order to basically certain areas where money will be put in for investment as far as in housing and those type of things. So again, if I'm selected, I'll hit the ground running for you guys. And even though things may be different, I don't think you'll ever find a time that I'm not trying to do my best to make sure that the quality of life for the citizens of Benton Harbor is as best that I possibly can do. And what I'm hoping to do is that by taking you guys hopefully to the next level, someone else will come on and take you to the next level. And again, my dream is that Benton Harbor will be the one city that's admired not only by Southwest Michigan, but by the whole state of Michigan and by the country as far as for communities their size. So again, I'd like to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to interview with y'all, and I appreciate it wholeheartedly, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin.
Commissioner Isom, will the next applicant be notified?
Yes, is Mr. Little here? Let me see. Okay. Should be right up.
Do we need to pass them down now?
Yeah, the first interview we can pass down to the clerk. Good evening, Mr. Little. How you doing today?
Good, very well, sir.
All right, we're going to start the interview process. Fourth Ward Commissioner Griffin.
I would like to know, how would you provide a better quality of life for the residents? How would you go about doing it?
I would go about doing it by first attempting to get the city's financial and operational capacity in better shape so that we could do more of the routine kinds of things that we should be doing to assist with maintaining the city, cleaning up, doing all of the things, city services that we should be providing.
All right, Third Ward Commissioner Henry.
Okay. I would like to know, what would be your plan for Benton Harbor residents for the quality of life in the next year?
Within the next year, I think it would primarily entail assisting.
Point of order. Yeah, the question
Yes,
has to be the
that's-
same.
Yeah, the question got to be saying you asked the first candidate. Thank you, Commissioner.
I pass.
Second Ward Commissioner Warren.
Oh, just a point of clarity. Realistically, being that this is an interview, you have to give the candidate the same opportunity to answer the same question, because we do have to score the question. You cannot pass on a question. So if we can rewind the minutes, and maybe the clerk can ask the same question, you cannot pass, because that would be unfair to a candidate who is being judged by the same score as the last candidate, because if we all pass, then that's unfair to the candidate.
Okay.
I concede and give my question to Mr. Little about Justice 40. And basically, it's a mute question, but I'll give it to you anyway, Mr. Little, because of how the finance is going to be for that initiative. Thank you. What would you initiate for Justice 40?
I would follow through with the current planning that we're doing to get the city's Justice 40 plan in place in the event that the opportunity presents itself to use it. Recognizing what the change taking place in Washington, I suspect that it would have some limited use, but there's no telling how much or how long before the administration changes that.
Second Ward Commissioner Warren.
Hello. Can you describe a time when you've had to make a difficult decision that was unpopular with the public?
Well, unfortunately, it occurs very often. One of the most recent ones was implementing the return to shutting off water if bills were not being paid.
First Ward Commissioner Henderson.
How would you go about bringing in revenue into the city of Benton Harbor, a city like ours that's had issues with water, how would you sell the city of Benton Harbor to outside investors to help bring in revenue into the city?
Through a combination of attempting to increase the number of water users within the city, through a combination of increased housing, businesses, and so forth, but also the larger opportunity, I think, presents itself in cooperation with our neighboring community, the township. We unfortunately are landlocked, 4.3 square miles of area, no large tracts, where the township has 27 square miles and plenty of available land for development. Conversely, the township has limited water capacity, and we have a great deal of additional water capacity. And I think the two communities can work together to support and help each other. And as development takes place in the township where they need more water, as opposed to having to make a big capital investment to increase their water facility, I would propose to sell them water wholesale. After all, it's well known now that we have some of the cleanest water in the state.
At-large Commissioner Singleton.
Mr. Little, realizing that the tax base is very limited in our community, and we had to, kind of depend on federal grants and initiatives, also state. How important do you think that is, and what is your relationship with those agencies?
When you say with those agencies, you're referring to federal agencies?
Yeah, federal and state, yeah.
Yes. I have a very good working relationship with many of the state and federal agencies, as has been demonstrated through the numerous millions of dollars that I've helped facilitate bringing into the community within the last 36 months, which is about the amount of time I've been back. We've got, just as an example, about 8.5 million committed for Ox Creek, 1 million for Hall Park, 1 million for the Bobo Brazil Center, 1 million for solid waste facility. The grant that we're using for dealing with flooding and so forth along the riverfront, and a number of other projects that we have going on. I've worked at city, county, and state level over the last 50 years, and have worked with just about every federal agency, so I know how they operate, what their expectations are, and I work very well with them.
Thank you. Can you briefly describe, if possible, a plan for dealing with senior citizens and the youth?
Essentially, it's a combination of things to try and support for both organizations and entities that currently provide services to them to try and increase and improve their capacity. At the same time, to do those things that the city should be able to do, which includes parks, recreational activities, programming, and that kind of thing, which right now requires pursuit of grants from all levels, and at the same time, a plan for improving our financial position to enable us to be able to also do our part in support of youth and seniors.
At-large Commissioner Kennard.
Knowing that, hearing that one of the most important things is finance in running a city. According to the charter, as following the charter, how important do you think that it is to follow the charter and having the finance director in place at all times?
It's extremely important to follow the charter to the extent that is feasible, but recognize that, like many cities, we have a charter that was put in effect in 1945. There are many things in the charter that you can no longer comply with. City market board, you don't have a market anymore, you used to. A variety of other items like that that have changed. I still think the city would be better off to have a competent, qualified finance director, not just to have somebody in the position.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Mr. Little, for your application for this position and even being here today. I need you to answer the question like you answer them on Wednesday nights. Please describe your experience in the areas stated. Probably need a pen. 1 is personnel and labor relations. Number 2 is public safety. 3, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Public works, economic development, and intergovernmental relations. If you can please describe your experience in those areas. Thank you.
What was the last one again, sir?
Intergovernmental relations.
Well, to begin with personnel and labor relations, my first degree from Southern Illinois University was in the field of labor relations and personnel. That would have been back around 74. Since that time, first with private sector, I engaged in personnel support and administration, and also more or less learned. That was my first exposure at learning labor relations in the private sector. I have since that time, every place I've been in the public sector, I have been involved with personnel and labor relations to some degree. I not only have administered union contracts, I have negotiated them, and as a matter of fact, I was certified by SHRM, the Society of Human Resource Management, as an senior professional in human resources from, I believe, 98. I maintained that until the first time I thought I was fixing to retire. But I negotiated and managed as many as 14 contracts in 1 year for the city of Green Bay, 6 for the city of Ann Arbor. I believe we had 5 at Broward County. At Broward County oversaw personnel administration and human resources and labor relations for 1,100 employees. Public safety, since I first went into the public sector back in 1970, at the city of East St. Louis, where we had 500 employees. I believe it was around 100 police officers at that time and about 80 fire personnel. I oversaw public safety there. And in each of the cities that I've worked in since that time, including twice here at Benton Harbor. I was your city manager back in, I think, 87, 88. I was your city manager in 2000. I was also the city administrator for the city of Gary, where I oversaw public safety and all of their operations. Same thing for the city of Harvey, Illinois, where I was also a city administrator. And of course, back here through the current period, since I assumed the role of acting or interim since April. Diversity and inclusion sort of goes hand in hand with personnel and labor relations, most directly because most all federal grants require that there be some effort at inclusion and making sure that people are being treated fairly and have equal opportunity. Your grants, in fact, include and require that. Inclusion and diversity has been, I don't know what it's going to be from after this, but it has been the law of the land for some time. Intergovernmental relations is an absolute necessity in this kind of position. You don't get much done if you're not working very closely with your county, your adjacent communities, your state government, as well as your federal government. Many times you're trying to get these different levels of government to work together in order to try and help you accomplish whatever you're doing. Just as we are doing currently in terms of our economic development efforts, where we pursue organizations that may be interested in doing development. If there's a problem with environment or whatever, we work with our local brownfields. We work with the State Department of Eagle. We work with EPA, and we try to coordinate all of them together to try and get things done.
Thank you. Honorable Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Little, for your application and your desire to be the next city manager of the city of Benton Harbor. The city of Benton Harbor has invested $32 million in the replacement and the removal of all lead service lines. We're poised to invest $21 million in our water distribution system, as well as $4 million in the filtration plant, along with $1 million in Hull Park, approximately $700,000 into Yarrow Park, $1 million in Bobo Brazil. We currently have a project, $2.6 million for Colfax Avenue, which is an artery for the city of Benton Harbor. And then we have a projected minimum of $400 million to our 625 acres, which would be private as well as public investment on Riverview Drive. What in your professional and educational background would qualify you to be the Chief Administrative Officer or City Manager of the City of Benton Harbor?
I think more than anything else, the fact that I have been doing it for a number of years, over the last 50 years, between city management as a city administrator or a city management, and alternately at certain points in times, Director of Labor Relations and Human Resources, and at other times, Economic Development. Those are the areas of local government that I have specialized in. And as a consequence, I have that experience of doing this and performing it. During about 78, 77, when I was working for the state of Illinois under Governor Jim Thompson, I was a state economic opportunity officer and was responsible for federal pass-through of around $500 million a year to the 104 counties in the state of Illinois. Those monies came from CSA and the agency that succeeded it, from Department of Energy, from Health and Human Services, and a number of different agencies. Just as they do here in Michigan, certain larger cities and counties get their money directly. The other go through what's called balance of state. And essentially, that's the way the government was set up there. So I handle those programs, even for like the Chicago Department of Human Services and the system of community action agencies throughout the state and various others where they had different organizations that handle those funds for them. So with 50 years of intense involvement in city management, working in management for county, for state of Illinois, I doubt there are too many people that know a lot more about it than I have.
Well, thank you for your answer, and just for the record, I hope to be turning 50 next year in March.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Little. That ends the interview for tonight. We want to thank each commissioner for your questions and your participation.
Well, you got to ask
Oh,
him
yeah,
the
I'm sorry,
same
apologize.
question,
Anything you want to say to the commission?
Well, I would just say that ever since I came to the city in 1984, I kind of adopted it as home, and as a consequence, I've been all over half of these United States since that time, twice back here. Came when it came time when I retired from Broward County in 15, I decided that I wanted to come home. I still had a home here, have had one here ever since 84. And even though the weather and everything else was tempting in Florida, this was still home. And after I got back here, I saw things happening that I felt I could be of service and that there was a need, so I got back into it. And thank you for the opportunity, and there's a lot more to be done. As all of you know, we have a great many projects that are going on right now. We've got a developer looking at a hotel. We've got a firm looking at doing 3 projects over on Water Street, the cigar operation. We just did the pad for the Priority Health Exercise Center. We've got Project T getting ready to go off in the spring. Corner of Wall Street's getting ready to get off and going. As Mayor said, you've got Colfax Avenue. We've got all these parks projects going, and Ox Creek is getting heavily underway. There's a lot going for the city. I'd like to see it get finished.
Thank you, Mr. Little.
Thank you. This brings us to our next item on the agenda, which is a presentation. It's a proclamation declaring November 19 as MLK Unity Day in the city of Benton Harbor. Commissioner Edward Isom served as the chairperson representing the city of Benton Harbor, and he's going to read the proclamation and present the proclamation tomorrow at the event.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. You know, tomorrow we have the unveiling tomorrow at the.
Could you please speak into the, with the microphone?
Tomorrow is November 19th, and it's the unveiling of both monuments of both cities. And I'm here to read the proclamation declaring November 19th as MLK Unity Day in the city of Benton Harbor. Whereas the Benton Harbor St. Joe Arts and Cultural Social Justice Group formed in 2020 to stand in solidarity with community-wide efforts supporting, advocating, and promoting social justice within the cities of Benton Harbor and St. Joseph, Michigan. With the commitment as cultural institutions and individuals to utilize its unique resources to support this work, and whereas the group determined to support the vision of Sharon and Emmanuel Brown, founders of the African American History and Literature Gallery in Benton Harbor, and the Unified Civic Monuments Project was birthed. And whereas partnership was found with Krauser Arts Center, Lake Michigan College, and through the support of the Barron County Foundation and countless community members. And whereas the vision of two distinct monuments depicting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in the cities of Benton Harbor and St. Joe, two kings for two cities, together was fostered and brought to life. And whereas the artists David Allen Clark and Harold Woodridge created the monument's titled A Seat at the Table, located in Dwight P. Mitchell City Center Park, Benton Harbor, and the Mountaintop at the Margaret B. Upton Auditorium, St. Joe. And whereas these monuments have been unveiled and dedicated on November 19th, 2024, now therefore be it resolved that I, Marcus Muhammad, on behalf of the City Commission and its residents, in honor of monuments unveiling, hereby declare November 19th an annual MLK Day of Unity, a day to celebrate this special moment and legacy of our two cities and to continue to strive forward together, proclaiming the spirit of unity, collaboration, and social justice. Thank you so much.
Can I just ask that they put Mayor Marcus Muhammad? Because, I mean, that would just be fitting to the occasion because he wasn't selected. He was elected.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Can we amend that, Clerk?
It just would have to be added. Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Isom, for your tireless work and leadership. It's been a long march, and you have stood the test. You took the criticism of the City Council and the input from the council staff and the community. And from what I can see, and the fact that we'll have Martin Luther King III here to dedicate the statues tomorrow in St. Joseph and Benton Harbor is not only historical, but it has national implications as well because it is connected to the King Center in Atlanta and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, so thank you. This brings us to our citizens' comments, 3 minutes maximum per speaker. Please sign in with the city clerk, and she will call you according to the list. Mr. Manager, could you please join us?
Glenda Wisnett.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you all for those interviews. I think he had great interviews and with both candidates. I'd like Mr. Little just said something about the projects that are coming here to Benton Harbor. I know you're not going to answer any questions, but how do y'all feel that's going to work with the crime rate that we have? We have an issue with our youth. I asked Mr. Isom the last time to address that. If I call the police at 12 o'clock in the morning, they don't come till 4. That's an issue. And also, I was talking to someone from Lansing who said that Ben Harbor does have the money to hire police officers that people are not willing to work. I'm not sure if y'all had thought about hiring part-time officers. I think that maybe when Singleton was police chief or Lane, they hired part-time police officers, and they were the ones who worked late night. Because your crime rate, the highest is at night. You have 2 officers. I have called, and they've told me, well, I'm not coming to a random address. I had to come down to the station to do a report. I file reports, and the paperwork is not done. My next thing I'd like to talk about is, since we've spent $32 million on water projects, were there permits taken out on those projects? Because that, we should have more than $432,000 in our surplus. Because every project, there's been plumbing permits taken out, there should have been curb cuts, there should be utilities. Every time you do work in the city of Ben Harbor, and I'm saying that because I work with Oklahoma City, Shreveport, and other cities, there's permits that have to be pulled. Hopefully they were pulled, and that should put revenues back into our city that we're missing. And I don't know, I think Mayor Mohammed passed a bill, or you all passed a bill for city taxes, right? Income taxes. All these people, B and Z, and all these people are doing business in the city of Ben Harbor. Are they paying city taxes, income taxes? When I had my business, I had a medical clinic. I had to pay city taxes in Louisiana. That would bring money into the city of Ben Harbor. There's no way, Ben Harbor's a gold mine, and everybody on this board knows that. Whoever you all decide to select for city manager, the city manager works for you all. So each one of y'all are responsible for what that person does or does not do. And I'm moving back to Ben Harbor because this is where I was born and raised. I'm grassroots. I've lived in Broward County where you live. I just came from there with a government job. I've lived in Oklahoma, Shreveport. I've lived in a lot of states. And I know that Ben Harbor is a gold mine. And I'm not one to sit here and let things pass me by. I think each and every one of y'all are great. You are elected, but it is your job to what's conducive for the citizens who vote for you, to make sure that our youth are being taken care of. Our police department has what they need. I mean, we have cameras, but how can you mandate the cameras when you don't have the force, the staff, to go and find out who did what and when to go see them? We put our police officers, we put them at risk when you don't have enough people to support them. If they got to come to a major crime, you got to call St. Joe, the township. We really shouldn't have to have them coming over here. We need to hire more police officers from our city. When I was here, and Mr. Singleton knows, we did a thing where police officers could buy a house for $100. Kerry Dudley, and I think you were commissioner of the police chief, we had $40,000 that came from HUD to help to rehab those houses. So we need that back in Ben Harbor. And I'll call each one of you accountable. And thank you for the interview, and thank you for your time, and thank you all for your job that you're doing.
Deidre Fields.
No, but seriously, I want to say you guys look awesome today. I love the peacefulness of it all. I am excited about our future. And again, whichever decision that you make for city manager, I feel that we are moving forward regardless. I was actually planning to say something in regards to the monument on tomorrow. So if you guys still have time to register, I don't know the link information offhand, but currently the count was about 650. No, this morning at 8 o'clock, I think it was like 6:35. But you have time. We are having a monumental person coming. We actually need to make the best of it. I feel like Benton Harbor had maybe 75 to like 100 youth that were coming, but again, you still have time. So whether you march from St. Joe to Benton Harbor, get a free food ticket, and we have great vendors, Diallo's, Diana's Kitchen, Lark's Girls, and I'm trying to think who else. I actually set them all up, but you're going to have some good barbecue, even a vegan option. Teresa that actually cooks for Harbor of Hope. So we have vegan, vegetarian options. Again, it's free. You have lemonade, water, tea on the inside. You can get a drink ticket for $2. But we should come out, whether it's rain or shine. MLK would have. So thank you, guys.
Mr. Duncan.
I'd like to reserve my time till Wednesday.
No more comments.
That's meat and potato night where citizens can come out and voice their opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all of the residents and citizens for your comments. It would be good to have some oxtail. Just, pardon me, just throwing that out. Beg your pardon. This brings us to the consent calendar items. Is there a motion for the approval of the consent calendar, or are there items that should be separated?
Make a motion to approve.
I do have Commissioner Clark Griffin. She is recognized.
I'd like to separate number 3.
Duly noted. Is there support to approve the consent calendar? It has been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Support.
It is supported by Commissioner Singleton. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard, Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the next item on the agenda, which is a separated item. Is there a motion for the approval of
So moved.
selection of architectural firm to provide design, engineering, construction services for Bobo Brazil Center? It is moved by Commissioner Henderson. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Is there discussion? Chair recognizes 4th Ward Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Okay, I was reading, I think it was a letter Mr. Little sent us Wednesday, along with the recommendations of having Amimaj doing this. Now, it was stated that 4 people looked over, what is it, RPF, and 1 was including Commissioner Warren. And also there was a nominous. So I would like to know who are the other 3 people, and the anonymous, I know there's a paper trail. What do they have in stake in it? What interest do the anonymous person have? Most importantly, if there was a committee or any meeting about the Army, I do believe that is 4th Ward. So I don't know why 2nd Ward Commissioner would be sitting on it and I wasn't informed. Thank you.
I would like to recognize the city manager.
There were no anonymous people on the committee. Commissioner Warren, myself, Dane, who works for me, and Marcy Hamilton at Southwest Michigan Planning Commission were the 4 people that rated the 2 proposals that were received. One from a firm, I believe, JKP, and this one from Avonmarsh, and all 4 unanimously chose Avonmarsh.
That didn't answer my question. Why was I not informed? And why was 2nd Ward Commissioner sitting on a 4th Ward project without me being informed? And you did state that it was a letter from an anonymous person. Whether they were involved in the meeting, it was a letter from them.
Mr. Little is recognized.
I'm sorry, I don't recall anything about an anonymous person.
I'm just saying, I'm getting tired of overlooking. I've been on commission almost 3 years, and there's a lot of things I've been overlooked, especially involving my ward. Now, this level of disrespect will not be tolerated. I am tired of it. And like I said, I hope it does not happen again. And I would like all anything involving this, I would like copies of it. Do I have to say through the chair for the city clerk or who?
Your comment is noted.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats is recognized.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I would like to appreciate everybody involved with trying to get the Armory back into existence. The Armory has been something that for probably the last 15 years that has been needed and necessary in the community. The kids do need some form of recreation or anything to start improvement. I'm grateful to hear that there's $1 million getting ready to go into the Armory. And, you know, there's no I in team. We have all been elected to do a job for the city residents and the city community and the senior citizens and the youth. If you decide to do something wherever, as long as it's benefiting the youth and the senior citizens and the people of Benton Harbor, I have no problem with that. And I do want to commend whoever's involved, because the Armory has been on this deathbed for too long and needs to be resuscitated. And this does not stop anybody from doing anything they want to do for the Armory. You know, this project does not tie anybody's hand from doing anything. If you can find resources or money or do whatever you got to do. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the community that nobody tells anybody about that we vote on, and we have to vote on it for the betterment of the community. So it's not about one person or 3 people or 2 people, or there's no secret society. This is not.
Point of clarity.
I did not interrupt anybody.
It's my right to call point of clarity.
I did not interrupt anybody.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats has the floor.
Thank you. So I will definitely support this, and I will support anybody that wants to do anything for the Armory, anything for Hull Park, anything for Union Park, anything for Yarborough Park, anything for anybody that's doing something to make Benton Harbor look better. Because right now, the Armory is an eyesore. So I do commend you. If you look at the resolution, anybody wants to see it, you will be happy that something is happening for the Armory. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
So, Attorney, Seneca, and City Clerk,
Commissioner Clark
are you
Griffin.
guys gonna let him deny my rights for point of clarity?
Commissioner Clark Griffin, you do not have the floor, ma'am.
Yeah, but when I call something, Robert's rule is supposed to
Point
stop, and you're supposed to
a point
address
of
it.
clarity on
I know
what?
what it is. I can tell you, Robert's rule, I've been dealing with 30 years.
A point of clarity.
Well, you were supposed to address it, and I asked what I wanted to ask Commissioner Seats. That's point of clarity on what he's saying. That's what point of clarity is. And you just disrespected me and violated my rights, and everybody can see that. City clerk, city attorney, everybody's sitting here, and nobody made him do what is right for me to do.
Each person who is speaking has the right to speak as a member of this body. Every commissioner.
Robert's rules can be called anytime and everything
So,
stops.
I see, I got a ventriloquist over here, don't mind. So each person has the right to speak. We all have the right to vote. We should be able to speak uninterrupted. If there's an issue where there needs to be point of order, where we're out of order, then we have to be brought to order. However, each person has the opportunity to speak before or after during debate. and questions can be asked during that time. I do want to recognize Commissioner Kennard, who has not spoken on this point.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. And you all being familiar with the scripture, it says, let all things be done decent and in order. That is the 4th Ward. That's under her heading. She should have been consulted in relationship to this coming up in her area. Now, if you do the right thing, it's always somebody just doing what they want to. Yes, it's a good thing to do good things for the community, but don't disrespect her by not recognizing her as being the ward leader. What's the reason of having those ward leaders if you don't inform them and bring them in as part of what is happening in their ward? So you know the right thing to do. You know it was the right thing to do. So don't disrespect her by not allowing her to even speak out against it. This was done, and she needs an apology and inform her to how this is going. Thank you.
So we do have, the charter was mentioned earlier, and under section 7.16, there is a guideline for the city manager who is responsible for recommending contracts to the city council. It is not the role of the city council. I am somewhat surprised that any member of the council was a part of the scoring because they have to vote on it. So it's not illegal per se for a member of the council to be a part of the bidding process. However, it is the role of the city manager, who has all authority to vet and handle the bidding of the contracts. And the city manager has the authority per charter to recommend and select. So it's something that maybe can be discussed. But if you do want to read, it is section 7.16 of the city charter, which outlines how contracts should be advertised, how they should be bidded upon, and the process of how it gets to this body to be voted on, which our role is to vote on the contracts recommended by the city manager, which did happen in this process. So I don't want to get so much in the weeds of the administrative side of it because our role is legislative. But I will, to Commissioner Clark Griffin's credit, she's very active in her ward. And I'm sure that Mr. Little will be working with her good office to make sure that what's done at the Bobo Brazil Center reflects the wishes of the residents of that ward. But I am overjoyed. I've seen it vandalized. I've seen the armory, you know, as in the words of Mayor Pro Tem Seats, you know, it's been on life support. And it breaks my heart to see the legacy of Bobo Brazil, who's honored all over the world. I went to an event in Orlando when they honored 25 years of WWF, WWE, and I couldn't believe the honor that all of them, the luminaries in that arena, the respect they have for Bobo Brazil, and to come home and see the building and his namesake vacant and desolate. So to have $1 million invested by grant, and we do have to have that project on the books before December 31st, 2024. Otherwise, that money will probably have to go back, especially with a change in administration. So we really don't have a lot of time. We have to get this done really like today. If there are no other, I do want to recognize Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Just like to thank all of my colleagues for their comments and suggestions and concerns about this particular issue. But just real briefly, there's so many great things that have happened in the community, and the Bobo Brazil Center is a community center, which it means anybody that lives in any ward can use that particular facility, and any representative from any one of the wards. I've also had the opportunity to be able to go into, I think Albemarle was bidding for something, and I wanted to see how that process looked, because as he said, we normally do not participate in those processes of opening up the bids to see. And then I think I came in, Tiffany was newly hired, and they were opening up a bid for a contract. And so just to walk through that process was very enlightening, and I learned a lot from that. So I would advise any commissioner who has not seen or been a part of that process to actually go in to any of the projects that's happening to see the bid process and how and what that looks like. So then when people ask you about what that looks like or who's doing what, you'll be able to give them a really good explanation about what the bid process looks like. This is what we did, this is how it looked. And so I would encourage every commissioner to actually go through that to be able to see what happens during that process. Thank you.
Commissioner Warren is recognized.
I think Mr. Little said it, but I want to just say it again so everyone is crystal clear. It was a unanimous decision. So it wasn't one particular person that decided. It was 4 people on a panel, and every person had the same decision based on the items that we reviewed.
I call for the question.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard, Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. This brings us to our staff communication. I'd like to recognize our Deputy Director of Public Safety, Director Clark. The chair recognizes our city attorney, Attorney Seneca.
No report this evening.
The chair recognizes our city clerk, Clerk Moore.
Thank you. I just want to report that the county did certify the November election today, so that'll go to the next step for the state for all of those offices. As far as the city, we had about 3,219 voters total from in-person, absentee, and early voting, so that was actually a really great turnout.
Thank you, and to your staff. I know it was a long day and night.
It was a very long night and morning.
But the efficacy and the integrity, we do appreciate, and I received nothing but good reports and good vibes from the residents and their experience. A lot of first-time voters who came in, and you know, that first experience goes a long way. So thank you all for your professionalism and your expertise in making this election successful. I do want to recognize our city manager, interim city manager, Mr. Alex Little.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to just put out as a reminder, several meetings ago, the commission approved an agreement between the city and National League of Cities for the insurance project that they're going to be operating in concert with us that would allow citizens to buy insurance for sewer and water bills. I believe it's like $8.49 a month for a sewer line, and it's about $6 a month for a water line. And basically what that does, if a citizen elects to purchase that, is enables them, if anything goes wrong with either of these, to make a call to the number that they have, and they will get somebody out to fix it, whatever is wrong with it, up to a maximum of $8,500 within 1 year. And when you consider now what the cost of having to call somebody out and look at them and so forth, it's a pretty good deal for people to be able to balance. In the month of December, we intend to get all of that together and start getting the information out so that people can take advantage of it.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Fourth Ward Commissioner Clark Griffin.
Thanks, everybody, for coming out on this, when was that, yesterday? We did Show Love Day. And we did about 12 to 15 houses of the Fourth Ward residents. It was about 14 of us, and we bagged about 100 bags of leaves. So that was yesterday, so I'm proud to say that. And what I'm working on right now is the senior care package and toy giveaway. This is the 3rd annual, so we're working on that right now. And I just want to say, tonight, you know, what you guys witnessed was me being excluded again. The Fourth Ward resident voted for me to represent them, so things that are going on in the Fourth Ward, I am supposed to be aware of it. But it's been going on forever, ever, and then you get them making excuses, get some of them talking against me because I speak up for what's right, and I'm going to continue to speak up for what's right. So what anybody say, I said what I said, and I meant it. And, you know, it's just insane to even consider somebody that's been hired full-time by the city, fired by the city several times, sued the city the last time.
Point of order, Commissioner.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. I got
Point
the
of
floor.
order, but you cannot
Yes, I can. You cannot. Here you go again.
publicly
Okay.
attack a
Reclaiming my
personnel
time.
member
Reclaiming my
of the
time.
city. You cannot
Reclaiming
do.
my time.
I cannot allow you to do that,
Reclaiming
Commissioner,
my time.
because you put the city at risk. when
Reclaiming
you-
my time.
but
Well,
you cannot-
this is public knowledge.
It does not matter.
And it's been in the
but
paper
you-
recently.
It's
Reclaiming-
personnel.
reclaiming,
You cannot.
and we
You
can get
cannot.
into
You
that, too.
cannot publicly discuss personnel
Reclaiming my time.
matters.
Reclaiming my time. Can
You
I
have
get
the
my
floor.
time back? How? Thank you. And I want to say tonight, the process of hiring the city manager, I don't trust the process because the mayor was going around trying to sway votes from some of the commissioners. I have knowledge of that, which is a violation of the Public Right Act.
Point of order. Point of order.
It's been said what I said, and I know you have. I have knowledge and proof that you have trying to sway the vote for Mr. Little. Thank you. Have a good night.
Chair recognizes Third Ward Commissioner.
All I can do is to thank every citizen. If you came out and heard this tonight, write it down. Go back to YouTube and look at it again. And for whatever you do, get involved with our Wednesday night meeting. This is going to be better than YouTube. This is going to be really good. So I want you guys to stay involved. Keep coming back and bring somebody with you. Because this is going to be some kind of circus to watch. Thank you.
The chair recognizes Second Ward Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank everyone for coming out. Yesterday, we had a beautiful time at the Salvation Army's Thanksgiving dinner. I was able to pass out blessing bags with toiletries. Some had scarves, some had socks, different things that residents could use. And I was able to meet residents from all over the city and fellowship with them, so that was wonderful. I'm proud of the accomplishments of the city since the time I've been here. And we will likely have our next town hall meeting for the second ward, depending on whether, I'm thinking about January. So I will keep everyone posted, but it'll be at the public library again. Thank you and have a great night.
Chair recognizes First Ward Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, and I'd just like to thank all of our residents who came out tonight to hear the interviews that we conducted on tonight and some of the business that we got to take care of. And like many of our commissioners have said on our Wednesday nights, which is our committee meetings, where if you had questions about things such as the police department, I wish I could have, Mr. Clark would have expanded on in his comments on some of the comments that one of the residents has said talked about the Benton Harbor Police Department and how recruitment and all that kind of thing works, so that people have a better understanding of what that looks like. But there's a lot of great things that's happening in the city. Like most cities, Benton Harbor isn't perfect, but to see our streets and our sidewalks that have been rebuilt, to see the infrastructure projects that have occurred is phenomenal. I have family that lives in Detroit and some in Flint and some other places, and when they come here, they just cannot believe how different the city of Benton Harbor looks. Again, it's not perfect, but there are a lot of great projects that have happened in the city, and a lot of it is due to the staff that we have here who work tirelessly to get these things done. And so I appreciate each one of them because I know it is a difficult job in many respects, even low paying compared to other communities and other municipalities because of the lack of tax base. So thank you all for the efforts that you put in every single day, because I know that you all could choose to live someplace else, to work someplace else, to make more money, to have less stress, to get more sleep, and all the other things that you could do, but you've chosen to be in the city of Benton Harbor. So I thank all of you for that, and my colleagues that I serve alongside with. Democracy is not always agreeing with somebody, and it's not silencing the ones that you disagree with, but it's about coming to a middle ground and to do the things that you do agree upon so that everybody wins. Because if you move forward with the things that you agree upon, you will go further, faster, and you'll achieve more. So thank you all, and have a great evening.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner at Large Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. Also, the candidates for city manager's job. I think both candidates stated their case, and good luck to each one of them. Like to say thank you to the clerk and her staff. I heard about the elections, and I didn't hear any problems. This year was a lot of new stuff. The information got out, with the different ways to vote and things. So it was an awesome job, and good to see the high turnout. With the Armory, it is, I'm pleased to see something happening with that building. It means so much to this community. As a little kid, I used to go there too. Seen Bobo Brazil and Tim Hampton and a bunch of other ones. Even they had basketball, semi-pro basketball in there. It went through a lot of changes. I think a lot of it was, it was $100,000 put in, some more money put in, but it just wasn't enough to, I guess, keep it, stable. So hopefully, this time around, there's enough money to get the building up, running, get programs in there, and have some sustainability. So it's good to see that project, and hats off to the commission and staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner at Large Isom.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Thank the citizens for your comments. You have been heard. Congratulations to the new board members that got appointed and appointed to different boards. On this agenda, we approved a project on Colfax. So, like I said, all roads lead to Ben Harbor. We didn't Pipestone, Colfax, May Street, Broadway, Empire, Columbus, Catappa. We just going all throughout the city, just doing the infrastructure, sewer, water, storm drains. We continue to do that. Every week is something to make this city better for the people of the city of Benton Harbor. There's still work to do. With the unveiling of the monuments, that's something big, happening tomorrow. We put into, this commission put in a lot of work, asking the hard questions, but we got it done. Matthew 19:26 says, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. I trust God. All things are possible. And I tell you this, expect great things. God bless you. God bless Ben Harbor. And I still got a sheet. If anybody want to sign up for the Detroit Lions team, want to be a fan, let me know. Thank you so much. God bless you. Expect great things.
Thank you, Commissioner Isom. The chair recognizes Commissioner at Large Kennard.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank each and every one of you that came out. You could have been doing anything else that you might enjoy doing other than sitting here listening to us. But it's very important that you be here and know what is going on in your city. You've seen a prime example of what goes on here. I sat many years over where you all are sitting, and I observed over a period of time, you got some that's been here 3 terms, and the Water Council got active, and then things began to change. So you can give the credit anywhere you want to, but we know the truth. The truth shall set you free. And I'm telling you, when you see people with strong personalities that demands their space and demands respect, you'll find different ones will fight against it. But stand on it. Commissioner Griffin has worked tireless and hard in her ward, and she do the respect of at least of something else. If you got anybody going on in there, it's okay to bring somebody else, but don't leave her out of it. She's a part of that ward. That's her space, and she's worked very hard there. So I taken offense to that. She's a strong personality, and sometimes people don't want, especially sometimes, as I said, women to speak up. But I'm one that will speak up. I'm old school. I'm not as sharp as some of you all in technology, but I hold my own. And one thing I do know, that God is standing and he's watching you. So you can cover it over any way you want to. It is what it is. So now,
I do appreciate the amens and the bearing
So,
of witness,
what
but
I'm
can we
saying-
please keep it a
what I'm
government
saying
environment?
to you all, that especially the ones that has been ministers and over bodies of people, they should be the ones that speak out for the right thing most of all. So now let's just give them their space. But still and yet, I do thank and praise God for the things that is making a change, the positive change. And also, We the People and the Fresh Start Initiative is taking place. And I thank for all those that are getting involved with that, because we're working strictly from our heart, and we praying and asking God each and every day to give us the strength to withstand the resistance that we have. Thank you.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Minister Muhammad. Mayor. It's a wonderful thing to be in a land of a democracy and the freedom of speech and everything that happens. And the greatest thing of all is that we all have difference of knowledge and opinion. And there's so many scriptures that you can quote that has a lot to do with a lot of things that you see going on. But there's only one real one. And it says, in all thy ways acknowledge him and he will direct thy path. And the other one says, if the blind lead the blind, they'll fall into a tremendous ditch. A lot of things that you hear and a lot of things that you see, some things come from if it's in black and white, it's in black and white. But if it's just opinion, it's an opinion. Until it's in black and white, you can see that this commission, this 9-member board, voted for relief. We voted to get rid of lead lines. Governor Whitmer passed down money through the House of Representatives to get rid of lead lines, Rescue Act, and government help. There was a young man from Benton Harbor who went to the Republican Party and the Democratic Party to get money from both sides, and Fred Upton was one that helped us to get some money to correct the problem. There's some people who made more money off that than they made off of anything, and didn't help not one person. So I am committed, and I've seen it happen. I've watched this thing, NSP2, NSP1, we spearheaded that. We got the money to help people get housing and everything else. We spearheaded most of the things that happened. I've been over planning economic development for the last 13 years, and if you cannot see planning economic development in your city, then there is some optical places that we will be bringing to Benton Harbor, roads, infrastructure, and everything else. So, hecklers and all that stuff, I didn't get elected by hecklers. I got elected by voters. And for some reason that if a voter voted, I didn't get voted in by 80 votes. I'm going to say that again. I didn't get voted in by 80 or 60 or 40 votes. I didn't get voted in like that. So, we have been elected, not selected, and we've made the best decisions for the people. I commend the people who come to try to even, Mr. Wilmer Griffin, he did do a good interview. Mr. Little did do a good interview. But if I'm getting a heart transplant, I don't want somebody to give me a good interview. I need somebody who has good history. So take it how you want it. Nobody's ever going to be popular. We unveiling Martin Luther King statue, and Martin Luther King was stoned, tarred, feathered, imprisoned, and even killed. He wasn't popular. Thank God for these two pastors who are here today, who are leaders in the community. But if you're trying to be the Bible says, be careful when all men speak well of you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Just like to thank everybody for coming out, and I do want you to know that every voice is valuable. President Clinton, in his new book, and point number 10, he says, take criticism seriously, but not personally. That's really a great lesson, especially in government, because, in my 9 years as mayor and 6 years as on the city council, I've developed alligator skin. Because that's what's necessary to continue to serve and not become vindictive or spiteful because people may differ with you or even criticize you or maybe did not vote for you, but you still have to serve people in the position. We have 3 more meetings left, 1 more in November and 2 in December. 2 more. Boy, it's 2025 is looking at us in the face. So we've got a lot done this year. We'll be doing a State of the City in February of 2025 to just capsulize all of the great work that has been done. We will see a new administration ushered in. I did congratulate President Trump-elect. The city of Benton Harbor, we worked with his administration from 2017 to 2020 when I received $5.6 million on behalf of the city and the residents to start the Lead Line project in November of 2019. President Trump at the time sent the EPA, and they bought a $5.6 million check to the city of Benton Harbor, delivered by Congressman Upton. Some said that I was a closet Republican. I took criticism that, I was working with the Republicans and, I was working with Fred Upton and, but if it's gonna bring money and resources to the city, I'll work with a parrot to bring and improve the quality of life, which I think was the catchword tonight for residents in the city of Benton Harbor. So we look forward to working with the Biden-Harris administration as we close out 2024 and moving forward. The city of Benton Harbor is in a position now where we're recognized nationally, not for disgrace and shame and mismanagement and, misappropriation of funds and monies, but we have been viewed and looked at as a model city and a city moving forward and going in the right direction. And it's not one person. It's a team. It's a collective group, starting with the residents who elected us and the staff that makes things happen. So let's stay together, in the words of Al Green. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Motion is made by Commissioner Henderson, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson? Commissioner Henry? Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard? Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Motion carried.